Hey everybody, this is Matt Smith from Saint on the Covenant Metal Show.
Hey guys, I am here with Matt Smith from Saint. Matt, thanks so much for being on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dave. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. We had some technical difficulties. That's why we don't have Dwayne on here with us, unfortunately. But he's here in spirit. He's sitting right here.
Good.
So what you been up to, man?
Well, get ready for the show. It's a big part of it. I've been down working with Richard and Jerry and putting the set list together and trying to remember my solos. That's always fun.
Remember your solos. You wrote the solos, right?
I know, but I'm so improvisational. It's like a lot of those solos are
on the fly.
And they're like one or two takes and I'm done.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't like to second guess myself, and and if Richard likes it, then I'm happy. So some of the songs I remember when I sent him the Chosen one, I sent him a scratch track lead for that, and I said, and then Dave worked on it, wrote all the lyrics, and he sent it back to me. I said, yeah, I'm going to change the solo, and Richard's like, don't you dare.
Right on, man.
I said, all right, he's the man. So
I love the the outfit you wear on stage, man, like all red and black, like with the you got the red leather pants and the red and black shirt. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's pretty cool. And
thank you.
I seen Richard's growing his hair back out, man.
Yeah, I think he wanted to be long hair for this show.
Nice. So nice.
I like the look that Richard was sporting with the short hair and the long beard. I like that, but I like the long hair too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We love Richard no matter what he looks like. Yeah.
I call him the Godfather.
The Godfather. Okay.
Because, I've been listening.
He makes you an offer you can't refuse?
Well, not really. It's more like, he's got so much experience and he's been at it for so long because, back in the early 80s when I was, let's just say 1980, I was listening to Van Halen, Priest, all that stuff. And then along comes this heavy metal band called Saint, right? And I'm in Spokane, Washington, so I'm not too far from Salem, but somehow everybody up here was listening to Saint. All my friends, we were all listening to Saint. Of course, we were listening to Stryper. We were listening to Aaron Cross and Bride and all those early bands. And so for me, Richard was like one of the first Christian metal. Well, I think he was probably the first Christian metal band that I ever listened to. So he's the Godfather.
Nice. Right on.
And I've always, been a huge Saint fan.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
So that's awesome to be a fan of the band, and then later on you end up being in that band. And how did that come about that you ended up joining Saint? I don't know if I ever asked you that before.
Well, what happened was it was about 2010, and I was listening to some old Saint. I thought, I wonder what these guys are doing. So I went online and I found their website, and I saw they'd done a few more albums and they were still active, and I was like, this is amazing. And I noticed on their website there was a little blurb saying, if you want Josh Kramer to sing on one of your songs, it's like $100, right? Wow. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh man, you gotta be kidding me. It's just like Josh Kramer. And back to, the Saint thing, Josh has always been my favorite metal singer, right? Mm-hmm. I love Queensryche and all of those classic metal bands, but there's always something about Josh's voice that just resonated with me. I always just loved it so much. So I sent him an email, said, hey, I want to hire Josh. What would it take? And then within a few days, Josh got back to me. And he called me and he said something like, this is the President of the United States calling, this Matt Smith there. And I didn't know who it was. And he's like, well, this is Josh from Saint. I was just, blown away. And so we talked a little bit. I said, hey, I got a song. I wrote a song just for this. I was like, I'm going to write something just for Josh to sing. And I wrote it. I sang on it, a rough vocal, sent it to him, and within a few days he sent me a CD. Because the Dropbox thing wasn't really happening so much back there. It was a lot harder to transfer files. So he sent me back a CD with 24 takes of that one song.
Oh, wow.
24 takes. He had harmonies, he had different character voices. One of them even sounded like Yosemite Sam a little bit. He was just, he loved the song. He told me he loved the song. He had a lot of fun with it. And that started a working relationship between Josh and I. Mm-hmm. And we wrote some other songs together. He actually came up to my house. I had a place up at Priest Lake at the time. He came up, stayed at the lake place, and he was up here for 4 months. And we just had a great time, became really good friends. And in the meantime, Richard was kind of listening to some of the stuff Josh and I were doing. And I never heard from Richard, but a few years had gone by. I think it was about 2012. I got a call from Richard Lynch, and I was just blown away, of course. And he said, I've been listening to your stuff with Josh, and I'm thinking about doing a side project, and I think you'd be perfect for it. He just wanted to maybe write a little bit. And I was like, absolutely, I'd love to write with Richard Lynch. Yeah. And a little time passed. I know I'm kind of long-winded, but a little time passed, and then they were doing Broad as the Gate, and Rich called me and said, hey, we want to, we're finishing up Broad as the Gate, it's a new album, and we would like you to do some leads for it. I was like, sure, send them on up. So he started sending me just tracks with everything done except for no leads. It was like a blank slate. And I just started doing all these overdubs and sending them back. And a lot of that stuff made it on Broad as the Gate. And at that point, we got along so well. Richard was like, let's just keep at it. You want to join the band? I was like, yes. So that's how it happened.
Sweet. Very cool.
So Richard is the godfather. He's like my brother, like my father. He's been a really good friend.
Yeah, he is. He's a great friend, and I value my friendship with you, all you guys, man, all you guys that do this, all you guys in all these classic bands, and it's awesome that y'all are still, going strong. You guys released Heaven Fell last year, and which was one of my favorite albums from last year, one of my top 5 actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you had told me a while back you guys are starting to write for the next album.
Yeah, didn't I call you and have you listen to some of it? I think I thought I Facebooked you.
You did.
I was like, this stuff's. I want Dave to hear this, but
it's classified information.
Yeah, the next album's done.
That's right. You did tell me that.
It's done, and I'm done. I think I've done everything I need to do. We just need to mix it and then master it and come up with a name and artwork. And yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what people think of it. So it's real.
I'm sure it's going to be awesome. I mean, you guys are just amazing musicians already, and then of course you got Dave Nelson on vocals, and man, he's just amazing. And this will be his 3rd album with you guys, right? The Calf, the first one, right?
Yeah, he did the Calf, and he pretty much co-wrote all my songs. I got 5 songs on Heaven Fell, and he co-wrote all 5 of them with me. I wrote the music, and then Richard arranges them a little bit, but Dave pretty much does whatever he wants.
Right on. Very cool.
And we could just continue the same mojo. As a matter of fact, a couple of the songs on the next album I wrote during the Heaven Fell writing sessions.
Okay.
But they just didn't make the album because we had enough. It's not that they weren't decent songs. It's just we had enough. It's just like we have enough. So
that's good to have extra though, because then it makes it a little easier going into the next album.
Yeah, I write a lot. I haven't written much this year. This has been a weird year because, my mom's getting older, and my brother passed away, and he was my mom's caregiver. And now I'm the caregiver and my sister's the caregiver. So we're just all about mom this year, taking care of mom.
Yeah, absolutely. That's understandable.
But yeah, I'll get writing again, and who knows? You know, it's funny because I just want to bring up this point and see what you think about this. Saint is like the apocalyptic metal band, right?
Yes.
And I don't know who coined that phrase for the band, but I've been studying, the book of Revelation and I've just gone down these roads, and it hit me that at the end of the day, there's going to be a new heaven and new earth. And we're all going to be, all this stuff will be, behind us. Yeah. And at the end of the apocalyptic metal, it's going to be, the lion will lay with the lamb, and he will wipe away all the tears, and it's going to be all joy and all happiness. And I was telling Richard, maybe Saint should just write a really happy album, to put a button on the career in a way, maybe towards the end, not this one, maybe not even the next one, but maybe down the road, we should write something that's just all, happy. And because that's how it all ends. It doesn't end with the apocalypse.
Right, exactly.
He just laughed. But at the end of the day, we're all going to be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you guys played Immortal Fest last year, and you guys are back again this year. So, what's that like? How does that make you feel that you guys, were invited back and you get to just rock out on stage again? Now, one thing I don't know if you've heard, man, but they really did the place up, and it is so amazing. The stage is bigger, and they have this laser. They have lasers now, man, and it just blew me away when I was there. I'm like, holy cow! For a venue the size that it is,
right?
Like, you would expect to see this inside an arena somewhere, man. It's just awesome. When you see it, you're gonna be like, holy cow, this is awesome.
Well, I've watched all the bands. I watch all the videos I can find of the other bands, and I've seen it. So yeah, it's nice to be invited back. Of course, whenever you go into these things, you're always worried because I don't even live in the same city with Saint. We're kind of spread out. Jared Nolan's now in Nashville. Wow. And I'm in Spokane, or I'm actually in Post Falls, Idaho. I'm not even in Spokane anymore. And then, of course, those guys, Jerry, Richard, and Dave live pretty close to each other. But we have to practice on our own. We have to be ready. So we're only going to get one practice together the day before the show for sound check. So
you guys playing on Saturday or Sunday?
We're playing on Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Yeah, and everybody, we do our homework. I've had a few. I went down and worked a bunch of stuff out with Richard last week, and Jerry and I and Richard did a Zoom call. But we have a multi-track session of the show, so we just practice to that.
Oh, okay. Very cool. So you guys get to practice along to the backing tracks, right?
It's a click track.
Track. Got it.
Yeah, it's just a click track. But Jerry has on. It's kind of weird how it worked out, but on my session, I all my guitar parts are missing. So I play my guitar parts.
Got it. Okay.
On Jerry's session, I haven't heard it, but apparently all of his guitar parts are missing, and my parts are there. So he knows what I'm going to do.
Ah, got it. Okay. Wow. Very interesting. How you
that was written. Yeah, that was Rich's idea, and I thought that's a good idea. But I've played that out. I've played that out. And now all I'm doing pretty much is playing to all the original tunes. We have some deep cuts, which is exciting. We do have some deep Saint cuts that are coming.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you said the music for the next album, it's all done and everything, just needs to be mixed and mastered. Is there any kind of ETA on when the next album we should expect that?
Well, it'll be before the next Immortal Fest.
I would hope so.
Not this one, the next one.
Right.
I wanted it done before this one.
Well, yeah, that would be awesome. You guys could have had it there to sell, yeah.
So, but the logistics of that didn't let it happen. And I think that's why I was so motivated to write and get all my guitar parts done. I'm like, I told them we can do this. We can get the album out and mastered before September. And this was back in January, February. But with Jared being, Jared went through a big move. He moved clear across the country. And so it just didn't happen. But every 2 years.
Next year, 2024, New Saint.
Yeah, definitely.
So we can at least say that.
Yeah, and I'm digging the tunes. They're Heaven Fell too. It's, just heavy hard rock and stuff. It's funny, because when you join a band like Saint, you can't just write whatever you want. You have to write in the style of that band.
Yeah.
You really do.
Oh, yeah. What the fans expect, right.
It's a brand.
It is. It is.
It's a brand. And some of it, we had to pull Richard kicking and screaming with some of the songs on Heaven Fell, because he thought they were too heavy, or he thought they were too modern. They weren't in the classic Saint sound. And I said, well, they are now. A couple of them, they made it in. So
very cool.
Yeah, gotta write like Saint. That's part. I think that's part of the reason why I fit so well with a band, is because I knew their whole catalog. Because I was a big fan, so I knew how they layered guitars and just kind of how they did things.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Now you're involved in you do some other stuff on the side, like you're playing I forget the name of it, forgive me, but you play Push P-U-S-H. Push. Right on.
Yeah. So Push is like a 3-piece band that I front. That's all. It's just an outlet for me to do some of my original material.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I do lead vocals, and got 2 other guys who are really talented. So I do know that, excuse me, I do know that after Immortal Fest, you guys will be back at the BMI Event Center sometime in October. I forget the exact date, but I believe you guys are opening for Quiet Riot. Yeah. So we'll be back a month later.
Oh man, that's going to be awesome. Sincerely.
Yeah, I saw Quiet Riot open for Queen's Reich here in Spokane about 3 or 4 months ago. And I'm a huge Queen's Reich fan, but I think I enjoyed Quiet Riot more than Queen's Reich. They're just really hungry still.
See, I never, that's one band I never saw them. Never saw them.
Oh geez, I saw them when they were on tour back in like '82 with Loverboy.
Holy cow!
They toured with Loverboy, and I was still in high school, and I remember all the metalheads were there to see Quiet Riot.
Yeah,
and all the fratty, preppy boys and girls were there to see Loverboy. So everybody had to make it very clear, I'm not here to see Loverboy, man. I'm here to see Quiet Riot.
It's like, yeah, you're a closet Loverboy fan. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember my take on it, but I always liked Loverboy songs.
Yeah, they're all right.
But yeah,
I like Working for the Weekend. It's a good song.
and I had one of the Japanese imports of Quiet Riot with Randy Rhoads too.
Oh wow!
So
that's right. Randy Rhoads started Quiet Riot. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm a huge Rhoads fan. As most guys my age who play guitar are.
Yeah. Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, Rhodes and Michael Schenker, I think, are my two biggest influences, and of course, Eddie Van Halen. The funny thing about, for me, being influenced by Eddie Van Halen is Eddie was always like, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how he influenced me. And I did not tap for 20 years and I didn't use a whammy bar for decades. I still really don't. So I don't want to sound like Eddie. I want to sound like me. So
you do, what do they call that? Bend? To get your, I don't play guitar. I don't know the term.
I just bend my headstock, if I want to get I wanted to be like Edward. So to be like Edward, you had to play like yourself.
Okay.
That's how he influenced me. Whereas, like Schenker, I play a lot like Schenker. I can't help it. I just like Michael Schenker. I think he's really melodic, and I think I play more like him. I probably sound more like him on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah. And, Rush, bands like that. So I know you didn't ask me about my influences. I'm just volunteering.
No, hey, that's great, man. That is awesome. People like to know that stuff. I do. I like to see where people, where their musical roots lie, whatever.
I embrace my influences, and I wrote a song. It's on YouTube. It's called Hand Me Downs, and the whole song is me deliberately stealing licks from all my influences. It's like I deliberately have sections in there that sound like Ace Frehley. Deliberately have a Yngwie section. I deliberately have a little Van Halen section. I deliberately, so I copy the styles of people, and sometimes I'll sit down to write, and I'll just say, I'm going to write something that sounds like Rush. I'm going to write something that sounds like Queensryche. I'm going to, write something that sounds like Van Halen. I got this song that I wrote. Said I'm going to write a song that sounds like Van Halen, and here it is, I just embrace it. It's like, why? Every time you write a song and you play it for somebody, the first thing they're going to do is tell you who it sounds like.
Yeah, that's true.
And I know that discourages a lot of songwriters, but it doesn't discourage me. I think it's really interesting to hear that. People say,
you kind of take it as a compliment then, right?
Well, yeah, I take it. It's kind of a compliment, but it's more of I take it more as enlightening than anything else. It's like, how do other people perceive this song? And it kind of shocks me sometimes because a lot of people, well, not a lot, but I've had a couple people tell me Push sounds like King's X.
Wow.
I've heard that more than once. Mm-hmm. And I've never really listened to King's X. That's why I find that so fascinating. I've had people tell me Push sounds like Green Day.
Green Day?
Yeah, because I use poppy chord progressions. So influencers are great. I don't run from them. I don't hide from them. I embrace them, and I deliberately copy them. And this was actually pretty popular throughout history, because you got all the great composers throughout history. You got Paganini, Bach, with Villalobos out of South America, Antonio Laurel. And these guys were always stealing from each other and writing in each other's styles and copying their rhythm patterns and doing stuff like that. And they would sometimes write a piece of music and copy it under that guy's name. That would be like me writing a song and saying, hey, this is an old Queensryche song, and putting it on YouTube saying, Lost Queensryche. No, that's what they did. But they would print it, in manuscript form, and then they would publish it.
Wow.
They would find a publisher and they would publish it. So a lot of 20th century composers or 19th century composers would publish music and say, oh, this is, Sylvius and Leopold Weiss. And when they wrote it themselves. They'd say, oh, we found it in a church in Germany,
Yeah. Well, Immortal Fest coming up here in roughly 3.5 weeks, man.
Yeah.
And, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys and seeing you again, my friend, and seeing Richard and the rest of the guys, and just watching you guys, just kill it on stage, man.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really bummed that I'm not going to see Human Code because they were already there.
Yeah, they were really amazing. And it's funny you mentioned that because a couple hours ago, Dwayne and I, we interviewed George Ochoa.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was a really good interview. He's a good dude, and so yeah, they were great, man. And I am stoked about their new album that's coming out soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, it's. I heard a few demos from it, and it is good stuff. Sincerely.
Well, one of my favorite singers. So.
Yeah, Michael.
Always,
yeah.
Oh yeah, always has been. He's got a very unique voice.
You know, Barren Cross, they're the main reason I went to Immortal Fest last year. I'm like, Barren Cross, I'm like, holy cow, man, I'm going. I love Barren Cross. I gotta see Barren Cross.
Me too. And the guys were all wiped out, all the same guys. And I just said, I'm not leaving until I see Barren Cross.
Yeah.
So I don't care. And they were nice enough to allow me, for us to stay because we had an early flight Sunday morning. And so, and they were all super nice. I think Jerry took a nap somewhere. And
I remember that was a late night, man.
Yeah. They got a late start.
They did. And if I remember correctly, I think they finished. It was like a little after midnight when they finished. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, yeah. Man, me and my buddy, we got back to the hotel and just crashed out. Yeah. Man, we were just pooped.
Well, yeah, we had about an hour drive to get to our room because we got a room right by the airport so we could get out early. And, I think we got to bed about 3:00.
Wow.
But the guys were super cool. I'm like, I got to see Barren Cross, man. I've been a huge fan for decades.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw him finally.
Yeah.
After all these years, I saw them.
Oh, dude, they were awesome. I mean, it was so cool. They came back and did the encore with Imaginary Music.
Yeah.
One thing stuff. I don't know, you probably saw when they, you said you came across some of the Immortal Fest footage on YouTube. And one thing that they did was Michael Drive brought out Ray Paris and Jim Liberty on stage. They did 2 Barren Cross songs. They did Deadlock and they did Imaginary Music. Oh, dude, it was awesome. So it was a little surprise they did for everybody.
Yeah, that's really cool. Is that on YouTube?
I hope so. I haven't come across it, but that's why I just kind of brought it up in case you didn't know. But
I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. There was some cool surprises. Deliverance, George Ochoa came up on stage with them and played Weapons of Our Warfare with them, so that was really cool.
Yeah, that
was a little treat for everybody. But man, Saint Immortal Fest, Immortal Christian Rock Festival, rather, Part 2.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, September 2nd and 3rd in Versailles, Ohio, at the BMI Event Center, guys. Get your tickets. I'm serious. BMIEventCenter.com. You do not want to miss this epic event. And Matt, thank you so much for being on the show, man. It's always a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, it's good to see you and good to talk to you.
Absolutely, brother. And I look forward to seeing you in person here in 3.5 weeks, man.
I know it's gonna be coming right up on us. It's gonna be like tomorrow.
I know, it's crazy, man. It'd be like, oh my gosh, tomorrow? Yeah. Awesome.
All right, my man.
All right.
Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, and God bless you, and you take care, brother.
You too. We'll talk to you soon.